Well, hello everybody and welcome to another edition of In Pit Lane. Well, this is a show that we didn't expect to be doing at this time from this spot. We're coming to you from Darwin's Hidden Valley Dragway, and we're here for the Top End Nationals. We're doing the live stream this weekend, and of course just after we arrived here on Wednesday night, late Wednesday night, Victoria went back into lockdown again. So our thoughts with everybody back home at the moment. We're still in lockdown by the time this goes to air on Thursday night. Keep your fingers crossed and we'll get through this. But either way, it meant that our regular Tuesday night spot back in the studio was out of the question this week. So we thought, well, as we're here and as we've got some cameras and as we've got some racing cars and some people who drive them, we might as well do the show from here. We'll be catching up with some of the people involved in the racing this weekend. Be showing you some of this fabulous venue here. It's an absolutely amazing venue and a resource they've got here in the Northern Territory for motorsport. Of course, the circuit race, the race circuit you well know. The drag strip is fantastic. It's all world class. It is just terrific. But right now, speaking of world class, there's been a lot of world class motor racing happening around the world despite all of the problems. Let's check out exactly what's been happening with the In Pit Lane Motorsport News. National Championship drag racing returned to Darwin last weekend with the Top End Nationals. In spite of the state border closures affecting much of the eastern seaboard, there was still a good field on hand to provide a good-sized crowd and a large national audience via the In Pit Lane live stream with plenty of rubber shredding action. Daniel Gregorini put his name into the record books with a big win and a new national speed record in top Doorslammer. Gregorini set the new mark with a speed of 415.967 kilometres per hour in the final qualifying session to break the top speed mark held by Peter Capiris since 2013. Gregorini was due to face fellow Western Australian John Zappia, who won his final against Victoria's Robin Taylor. But the popular Zappia sustained engine damage in the race and was unable to get the motor changed in time to make the call for the final round, leaving Gregorini to take a solo run. South Australia's Leon Davies in a Camaro won a tough battle with local driver Todd Knight for the top sportsman final. Davies took his Camaro to a narrow win, only 1/100th of a second over the hometown hero. The modified final was decided on the start line when local driver Chris Moore left a red light on the tree to give Victoria's Craig Baker the victory. It was the second Summit Racing Equipment Sportsman Series win in a row for Baker after winning the Andrew Grand Finals earlier this year. Super Sedan saw a familiar name in the winner's circle as reigning champion Martin Mirko took the win. Mirko's 921 on a 916 dial-in defeated South Australian driver Peter Zokas. If the online reaction via the In Pit Lane live stream was anything to go by, then the win by Lisa Garbellini in Super Street was a popular one. Garbellini claimed her first ever Sportsman Series win and her first Andrew Christmas tree, defeating a red lighting Michael Bridges in the final. Lisa made the final by defeating her husband Paul in the semis. Modified bike top qualifier Alan Henry backed up his Friday top qualifying performance with victory on Saturday, an 867 on an 865 dial-in, too tough for opponent Robert Harrison. The most emotional win came in Junior Dragster, after leading qualifiers Brody Zappia and Aidan Abel were bundled out in the first round. It was a final between Cooper Plummer and Scarlett Sherwood. Plummer, who got his start in racing thanks to the Collis family, and in particular Steve Collis, carried a very personal reminder of Collis, who had wanted to make the trip to Darwin to see him race, but sadly lost his life to liver cancer earlier this year.
January this year he got diagnosed with liver cancer, and we got him this bear and he named it Cooper too, and we could take it all around Australia for him.
It was his bucket list to come to the territory.
Yeah, but he passed May this year, and we have some of his ashes in this little necklace, and yeah, so instead of him being with us right now, he's here with us in spirit.
Plummer took the whole shot by almost 1/10 of a second, setting himself up for a 9.43 win on a 940 dial-in in a fitting tribute to his friend and mentor. To see the full interview with Cooper, head on over to the In Pit Lane YouTube channel. More drag racing this time in the USA with the running of the Mile High Nationals in Denver, Colorado. Steve Torrens ended Joey Hass's dream run in Top Fuel by going 386 at 515.56 kilometres an hour in the final to take his fourth win in the past 5 races.
Man, I'll tell you what, man, complete respect to the whole Titan team. Joey Haas, that young man right there, you know, some days you're lucky, some days you're good, but that guy right there, he made it no matter how they got there, because you got to turn it around every round and get back up here, and they done it. Man, he went up there like a pro, and proud of him. Never met the young man till today, but a lot of respect for him, and I hope I get to race him a lot more.
Bunny Car saw a win go to Matt Hagan, who beat Alexis DeJoria in the final round to take his first ever win at Denver. And in Pro Stock Motorcycle, Matt Smith capped off a dominant weekend on Thunder Mountain by going 7.118 seconds at 304.23 kilometres an hour to beat Eddie Kravick in the final. Another hometown win to Sir Lewis Hamilton with a victory at Silverstone in the British Grand Prix. The win was, however, not without controversy after Hamilton made contact with pole sitter and sprint race winner Max Verstappen at Copse Corner, sending the Red Bull driver on a high-speed trip into the wall. Verstappen hit the barriers with a force of 51 Gs, but although badly shaken and a bit bruised, he was otherwise unhurt. Hamilton was penalised 10 seconds for the incident, but recovered to race past Ferrari driver Charles Leclerc to take the win. Leclerc held on for second place in a great result for Ferrari, with Hamilton's teammate Valtteri Bottas in third. It was another good race for McLaren's Lando Norris, and a solid return to some semblance of form by Daniel Ricciardo, who drove a steady race into 5th place. Eric Almirola has shaken up NASCAR. Second straight win to Toyota in the latest round of the World Endurance Championship, the 6 Hours of Monza. The team of Mike Conway, Kamui Kobayashi and Jose Maria Lopez led home the Alpine team of Nogaro, Lapierre and Maxiviere to give the new Toyota GR010 its second straight win. The United Autosports team of Felipe Albuquerque, Phil Hansen and Fabio Scherer were third overall and winners of LMP2. The Porsche team of Kevin Estre and Neil Gianni denied Ferrari victory on their home circuit, scoring their second win of the season in GTE Pro. The Italian marque did, however, take the win in GTE AM, with Francois Perotto, Nicholas Nielsen and Alessio Rivera crossing the line first. The teams now have a month's break before the big one, the 2021 Le Mans 24-hour race. Reigning GT500 champions Naoki Yamamoto and Tetsuki Makino scored their first win of the 2021 Japanese Super GT Series, driving their Honda NSX GT at Twin Ring Motegi last weekend. The Honda team had a great race-long battle against the Wedsport Avan Toyota Supra of Yuji Kunamoto and Ritomo Miyata. Third position went to the Tom's GR Supra. In the GT300 class, the Muta Racing Lotus of Hiroki Kato, Rohei Sakaguchi took its first win as a new team. And that's the In-Pit Lane news for the week commencing July 19, 2021. We'll have more news next week. Well, as track preparation continues in the background for tonight's first round of qualifying for the Top End Nationals, we're going to take a break now here on In Pit Lane on Channel 31. But when we come back, we're going to take you to the pit area and we're going to catch up with some of the cars and drivers taking part in the Top End Nationals this weekend here at Darwin's Hidden Valley Raceway. This is In Pit Lane, Channel 31 and the In Pit Lane YouTube channel. We'll be back with more right after this break. Welcome back to In Pit Lane. Well, the highlight of the top end nationals at Darwin were, at least for most of the crowd, the Doorslammers. One of the most popular drag racing categories in the country, the Doorslammers have made drivers like Victor Bray and John Zappia household names amongst local drag racing fans. One of Victoria's most colourful top Doorslammer drivers is Robin Taylor, the Mad Professor. Taylor, a biochemist who made his fortune in the areas of anti-ageing and sports medicine, has returned to the sport after a break of several years and a big crash at Calder Park. We caught up with the Mad Professor at Hidden Valley to find out what makes him mad. The answer is quite a lot, really.
Well, Rob, like us, you've come a long way to be here at the Top End Nationals. I mean, what motivated you to make this journey all the way up to Darwin?
Basically what happened was we were going to run the Winter Nationals. COVID intervened. Then we were going to run Grudge Kings, $100,000 winner takes all in Sydney. COVID, also known as the scam, intervened, and so we made the decision to come here and then run Alice Springs straight after this.
So you've got a good bit of competition here from the locals. I mean, tell us about the standard of the competition here this weekend, especially, I mean, we all know John Zappia, I mean, sort of a legend of the sport, but some of the locals who are up here, it's a pretty healthy scene up here, isn't it?
It is. It's got a really good scene. There's a lot of guys up here that are very smart guys. There's a lot of guys from Western Australia, Gregorini, Calvin Lyle, John Zappia, of course, but locally you've got Matty Abel, very smart guy, like really knows what he's doing.
So tell us about the state of top Doorslammer racing in Australia at the moment. I mean, it's very hard, you know, at the moment to get an accurate reflection on anything. But I mean, once this is all over and hopefully we get things back to normal again, where do you think the category goes? Because it's such a popular category with the fans.
Look, to be honest, I think I'm going to get myself in trouble answering this question. And
go ahead. This is the place for
probably get suspended. I think Andra and IHRA need to sit down and pull their skirts up and stop dicking around with everybody, because the only person they're hurting is the racer. You know, 6 years ago we had the opportunity to do something and everyone goes, oh, let's go IHRA. Well, if you play golf, if you play tennis, you play football, you get paid. We're the only Group 1 scene that pay to perform while the promoters make all the money. So there's guys here that are meant to be business people. Their business acumen is not really smart, you know. You spend a lot of money to come to somewhere like Darwin, and at the end of the day, they put on a great show. They put on, you know, the promoters here are great guys. They do all the right thing. But the sport in general is going backwards in a big, big way, you know. If we had to park their cars up 6 years ago, collectively as a group, and said, you know what, we're not racing until you start giving us travel money, until you start giving us gate money, things like that, the sport will be a much better position. Now we've got 2 or 3 factions. You've got Top Fuel that are running their own race now. You've got IHRA and Andra. At the end of the day, everyone's split, you know. For me, I just want to race. I just want to go fast. I want to race. I hadn't raced for 4 years. I went to Sydney and ran 580 straight off the trailer. So at the end of the day, I just want to go racing, you know. It's that simple.
What is it? Is it pure ego? I mean, is it just people not being able to put their egos aside enough? I mean, I imagine everybody, if you talk to everybody, they all think they're doing the right thing. But as you say, whatever the sport is divided, it's the great wasted potential in Australian motorsport.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. There are some, you know, both sides have some really talented people, and both sides have very good interest of the racer. But then in certain parts, it all falls down. And you've got to understand something. In both factions, they're making money from this. So at the end of the day, the people that are up in IHRA, the people in Android, they're all making money, right? And yet again, I'm probably going to get banned for what I just said, but I don't really give a because at the end of the day, this is how it is. No one's got the balls to actually say it. Here I am, I'm saying it.
Do you think it needs something like, I mean, what with the touring cars became supercars under the stewardship of Tony Cochran, who came in and basically took over and said, no, look, guys, you know, okay, I've had all your input, but this is the way it's going to be. If you don't like it, I mean, you can basically go elsewhere. Lots of people complained at the time. Everyone said this is never going to work. I mean, look where we are today and where supercars are. Yep. Is that what we need? Someone from the outside to grab hold of this and say, you know, this is it. We're in show business, folks. We've got to run this as a business.
It has to be a business, but the problem is the people at the top in both sides are making all the money and the racers are getting screwed. So at the end of the day, yes, there was someone, and it was before my time, that used to run the drag race and stuff, and I believe he actually went to V8 Supercar. I don't know if it was Tony, but whoever it was set the world on fire. And look at V8 Supercar, because 20 years ago it was crap, and now have a look at them, you know. We need to get someone to come in that doesn't have a vested interest in making money from this sport and run it as a promotional sport, so everyone gets paid, everyone does what they've got to do, and everyone goes home at the end of the day happy.
Yeah, and I've always said, and I used to have this conversation with Tony Cochran quite a bit. When you open the gates and you charge people money to come in, you do have a responsibility to put on a show and to put on the best show possible. And at the moment, do you think the people are getting the best show possible?
Look, the people are going to get the show from the drivers. There's no two ways about that. You know, we blow shit up all the time. We put it back together. We go out again. And you know, look, for me, I just love to race. I just want to go fast. I want to race. But at the end of the day, I feel responsible. You've got kids coming up in this sport, and a lot of kids, you talk to them about drag racing, they've got no idea in Australia. You know, you talk to them about F1 and that, they're like, oh yeah, I know everything about it. The message is lost, you know.
You've obviously got, I mean, we're standing in front of a very, very impressive transport here. I mean, this is equal to anything that you'd see in the supercar pits or something in the European Le Mans series or anywhere. I mean, so how much money have you got tied up in this sort of thing? And I mean, basically, you know, it's a very expensive hobby at the moment, isn't it?
Look, my sponsors, I'm lucky, you know. I've got a couple of big sponsors, and they look after everything. I couldn't afford to do this. On my own pocket, there's no possible way. Transport is $500,000, you know. You got a car that's $500,000. Then you got spares. Then you got crew. You got flights. If I didn't have the sponsors that I've got, couldn't do it. It wouldn't work.
Well, we're glad you made it up here. You put on a great show for qualifying last night. I'm sure it'll be a great show again tonight. Good luck for the weekend. Good luck down in Alice Springs as well. But thanks for joining us in pit lane.
You're much welcome. Thank you very much for your time.
Yes, sir. There's nothing like a healthy breakfast, and let's face it, that was nothing like a healthy breakfast, but it was absolutely delicious. This is where we're staying here while we're here in Darwin. It's at the house of top Doorslammer driver Matt Abel, and you're watching In Pit Lane from the Top End. This is the Top End Nationals. We'll be back on Channel 31 right after this break. The show may be over, but the motorsport chat continues with Full Course Yellow, the In Pit Lane after party. We're on the In Pit Lane YouTube channel live most Thursday nights at 9:30, straight after In Pit Lane here on Channel 31. So, why not join us? Yes, I do hope you'll join us for Full Course Yellow right after the program every Thursday night here on Channel 31. We're at 9:30 on the In Pit Lane YouTube channel. We're live and we'd love you to be a part of the team. If there's any rival to Victor Bray as the king of Australian top Doorslammer racing, it's got to be Perth driver John Zappia. Zappia's Monaro has been one of Australia's fastest and most consistent race cars over many years, taking its driver to a record 10 consecutive Andra Top Doorslammer national championships, from 2008 through to 2017. I caught up with John in the pit lane at Hidden Valley for a chat about his visit to Darwin just before Saturday night's main action. Well, John, welcome to the Top End Nationals. Tell us, what are your impressions of the circuit? Do you enjoy racing here?
Yeah, we love coming up to Darwin. The weather's great, the people are great, and the track's flat and smooth and wide, and this time it's got lots of traction. So yeah, we underestimated the track last night. It went a 78 first pass. And then we tried to improve on a 578, and we got a 578, and we tried to improve on it again on the final one, and we got another 578. So we're going to tack it a bit harder today and see if we can get under that, see if we can get a low 570, see if it'll hold the track, and yeah.
You've been doing this a long time now. I mean, and this car's been sort of a work in progress for many years now. It's famous all around the world right now. I mean, how long have you been driving basically this car over the past few years?
Oh, look, we've been driving it for, this particular one for about 12 years, and my previous car will be 5 years before that. So yeah, I think we got that one going in 2003. And then we got this one going about 2008. So yeah, she's like 13.
And no thoughts about trading up to something a bit more modern, a bit more swoopy, or are you happy to stick with the
No, look, you know, the
Aussie product?
The HQ Holden's 71 Monaro turned 50 years yesterday, and so yeah, it's a good celebration for the car. Look, it's what I'm known for. Other people got 57 Chevs. I'll just stick with what I've got. And to go to a late model deal, well, they don't even sell them here anymore. I don't want to buy an American car, I want to have an Australian car. So, look, if we do another one, we'd probably try and make a slightly, better version of this. That just depends how things go with COVID and sponsorship and the series and all that, but we're on the right track. We've got the series going again, and hopefully we get to make it to all the other states. And
you mentioned the dreaded C word. I mean, for someone who does travel around Australia as much and has been such a huge supporter of events like this, how difficult has it been running a race team during this time of the pandemic?
Well, that's it. We parked up for a while, and then we're lucky in Perth. The way they manage things in Perth, we've managed to keep it out, so we got to run a full season, hardly affected at all by COVID, but and I didn't attempt to go east, knowing the risks, and with volunteer crew, having to quarantine them and losing 2 weeks off their jobs, it was just not an option that I wanted to take the risk for. So then we decided to come up here for the supercar meet a month ago, and we managed to get back and be allowed to get back home as of now. So who knows what'll happen tomorrow or next week or whatever, but so we're here, we're going to do this one, we're going to do round 2 at Alice, and hopefully we can get home safely, and then we'll let the eastern states hopefully sort this stuff out, and then maybe we can go to Adelaide in October. If anything happens there, then we'll continue on in Perth in October, Perth to November, and then eventually we'll go to Calder Park in February for the Australian Nationals, then back home for the Western Nationals. We want to try and do Sydney in November, so hopefully they can sort this stuff out by then. But yeah, it's just a risk, but you can't just sit back and wait until everything's perfect and then go, right, now we're going to run a series, because everyone's given up, sold their stuff, so we just need to keep going, attempt to make it. If you can't make it, it's not fair that everyone can't be here this weekend, but a lot of people that didn't want to come, and then there's others that wanted to come that couldn't come. So at the end of the day, it is what it is. The last season took 2 years on the East Coast to do, and we only did two rounds out of that, and then stepped out. So we're just going to attempt to do what we can do, and people are going to make whatever meetings they can make, and that'll be the series for this year, and then hopefully the year after we can all be on track to have a better national series.
We're having a look at you're wearing your T-shirt there, and just at all the race meetings when we've seen you in the past out at Calder and at Adelaide International and anywhere around Australia. You've got the merch on the go. How important is that? I mean, is that something you do just for basically to brand awareness, or has it become sort of a budget generator for the team in itself?
It is, and it's a big expense to start with, but then you do get some money back. But it's just spreading the advertising for the sponsors. The fans want it; they keep buying it. So I suppose we just keep doing it. And it's a lot of work, but you don't get nothing if you don't put nothing in. So we just try to move as much merchandise as we can. It does help fund the team, and without all the spectators and all the fans that buy our stuff, it would make it tough to continue.
One thing about this weekend is you've got it's a pretty reasonable turnout, because you've got quite a few locals here. I mean, what about the state of top Doorslammer racing with some of the locals here?
Yeah, exactly.
What about some of the competitors you're up against and their cars?
Well, that's right. We've got 4 cars in the 5-second zone, and we sort of like spread out 500ths apart, 300ths apart, and then we've got 4 cars all running over 250 to 255 mile an hour. So yeah, everyone stepped up, and they're getting a handle on this place, and the track prep stepped up, and it's all going in the right direction. We're just going to battle it out today, and it's going to be tough to come out with the winners deal at the end. So.
Well, you've got a lot of work to do. So thanks for coming up, and thanks for entertaining us both here at the track and also right across Australia and right across the world on the live stream. I mean, we had lots of feedback from people in the States yesterday, sort of saying how thrilled they were to see the car. It really excites them over there. It's certainly something different. Thanks a lot for coming to the Top End Nationals, and thanks for joining us in Pit Lane.
No worries. I'd just like to thank all the sponsors and the crew that do all the work, and Denani Hot Shots, Tony's Auto Wreckers, Monaro. We're here to seriously give it a shot this weekend. Thank you.
Well, that's all we have time for this week on In Pit Lane. As we said, we really didn't expect to be over here and doing a show from Darwin. This came together all very, very quickly, and then of course everything down in Melbourne happened to fall apart very quickly as well. So at this stage, as we're recording this, we don't know whether we're actually even going to get back into Melbourne. But hey, if you're going to be stuck somewhere, it might as well be in paradise. Thank you to everybody from Hidden Valley Drag Club and from Andrew and everybody who's made it possible for us to come up here this weekend. It's been a fabulous experience. Still haven't actually seen anything of Darwin apart from the racetrack, but from what I'm told, it's a beautiful city and you should come up here and spend some time. I believe that it's absolutely stunning. Certainly the bits we've seen going between the house and Hidden Valley have been very nice. Thanks once again for you joining us. As I said, don't know where we'll be next week, whether we're in the corporate headquarters of In Pit Lane or back in the RMIT studios. I don't know whether we'll, as I said, we believe we'll be back in Melbourne. Who knows? But stay safe, be patient. This will all end eventually, we hope. And until we see you again next week here on Channel 31 and the In Pit Lane YouTube channel, from all of us here at In Pit Lane, thanks for joining us and good night.